2012 to 2016, in Asotin County, owner-occupied home rate was at 66.9%. And the median home price for that was $177,600, and that has gone up since then. Now I have to ask another question. How many of you have that much cash in your savings account right now you go out and buy your new house? No one, exactly. Most of us would have to go and get a mortgage from the bank. And when the bank gives us a mortgage, it's actually an investment to them. And when it's an investment, they're most likely going to sell it on the secondary market. And it is a federal guideline that if it's going to be sold on the secondary market, that there has to be an appraisal. Now, according to Webster's Dictionary online, an appraisal is the valuation of property by the estimate of an authorized professional. That would be the appraiser in this case, who acts as a third-party contractor to the bank. This is where I come in. I've been doing it for a little over 2 years now, and I'm nowhere close to getting my actual certified residential appraisal certificate. I have to go for 3,500 hours of on-the-job training with a trainer with me the entire time. I have to earn a degree, and I have to have 175 hours of additional appraisal education. Also have to pass the state certified test. So there's a lot of steps to get there, but it is an important part. And since I've started, I've also noticed that there's a lot of common misconceptions about the appraisal process, which causes a lot of anxiety for a lot of people when we show up. So, I'm here today to help you all understand the process and the purpose of an appraisal. So now that we've got that cleared away, let's go ahead and start with the process. So the first step is actually ordering the appraisal. Now, as it's explained in Understanding Appraisal Pamphlet, given out by the Appraisal Institute, that lenders actually order appraisal and oversee the entire process. This is because the appraisal acts for them as a sort of an insurance, as a safeguard. It's giving them the eyes on the house. That's what we do. Once we get the actual order from the lender, we go ahead and call either the owner, the tenant, or maybe the real estate agent, whoever is in charge of the property. And we set up the physical appointment. Step 2 is the physical appointment. This is where we go to the house and we start off with a few questions for the owner, and if they're not there, we're going to call them later or at some point figure it out. We'll ask things like, when did you purchase the home? How much did you purchase the home for? Some important things would be, what updates have you done to the home, especially the bathrooms and kitchens? All of these things help us decide the condition of the home, which is really important in developing the value. At that point, we're going to go to room. I'm going to take notes. I'm going to take pictures. While I'm taking notes, I'm also drawing a sketch. It's a drawn-out process. Once I'm done inside, I'm going to go outside, and I actually measure all of the sides of the house. I take pictures of all of the sides of the house, and I go and I measure the outbuildings and shops and anything else, and get pictures of those also. Pictures are really important because to the lender, it serves as proof that we're there. Unfortunately, that has been a problem in the past. So the notes, they are, again, like I said, really important for us to reference once we get back to the office. And the sketch and the measurement is what allows us to see what the actual living area of the home is going to be, which is really key to developing your opinion. The whole process takes anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour and a half. And now that we've got our legs nice and stretched out, we head back to the office for the tedious part, which is step 3 in the process. It's actually finding the facts of the property. The facts of the property are anything from neighborhood description. That could be things like a beneficial view, which would help the value, or a really busy street, which would make the value go down. We actually I used to go to the county courthouse, but now all of the records are online to find out the site size, the legal description, the property owners, and things like that. And if any of you ever have questions about your home, if you own it, you can go to the assessor's website yourself and find this stuff out. Another important part is the zoning. I mean, you can't have a residential and a commercial because if it burns down, they won't be able to rebuild it. So all of these things are really important, non-physical description of the house. That brings me to step 3. Step 3 of the process is actually crunching the numbers. And we have 3 different processes that we can use to do this. They're all called an approach to value. The first one is the income approach. It's one that we use for rentals, duplexes, or anywhere up to fourplexes. But I have to add here that you have to be competent to take on an appraisal like that. And at this point in my career, there's no way I would do it without my trainer with me every step of the way. The cost approach is what we use for new construction homes. In this process, everything has a value to it, and we can look in a cost guide, we can look at old plans and specs that we've gotten from old jobs, and at that point, like I said, everything has a value. The roof has a value, the siding has a value, the floor has a value, and all of those amounts add up to our opinion. The sales comparison approach is what you see modeled here, and it is what we use the most. In this process, we actually look at the market data, which would be the sales. We're looking at sales in the market area that have happened within the last year, and hopefully a lot sooner than that. The sooner the better when it comes to choosing your comps. And when we're looking at comps, we look at features like how old the home is, site size, and land size. But there's most of the times it can be really hard to find something perfect. So at that point, we apply adjustments. And as you can see here, these are the adjustments, and we apply them actually to the comparables. And that's not just a number that we come up with as we're doing it. That in itself is a whole other process that we call match-paired sales analysis. It has to be done every month or so, and it is a lot longer than this entire process. After we get done with our approaches to value for whatever the home needs, we're going to go ahead and move on to the fifth step. And it's what everybody really wants to know. It's when we decide to analyze and reconcile and come up with our actual opinion of value. What I've done here is I've developed a little graph or grid to show you kind of the process of what goes on in my head when I've gotten all the features and facts of the property and I'm trying to decide where the value lies. With the adjustments and the comps that were on the last slide, as you can see, comp 1 adjusted down to $220,999. Comps 2 and 3 adjusted a little bit over the $225,000 mark. Now, when I'm thinking about this, what I'm doing is, I know that the subject was superior or better than comp 1, but it wasn't as good as comp 2 and 3 in its condition. However, it was more comparable to comp 2 and 3. So, I came up with a subject price at $225,000. And that's how that goes. It's a long, drawn-out process. And then the last step is that we deliver our opinion of value. And yes, it is an opinion, but it is an opinion given by a professional after a thorough analysis of all the aspects of the property, the neighborhood, and the market area. We go through the series of steps by getting the appraisal from the lender, setting up the physical inspection, going through all of the non-physical features and attributes of the house, coming up with our approaches to value, and then the final step is the reconciliation and analysis of the report. Ultimately, the entire time, an appraiser's goal is to uphold the public trust. That is our job. We're to do it honestly and unbiased. And I'm going to leave you with a statement that was put out this year by Mark Lewis, the chairman of the Appraisal Qualifications Board, which is who sets up the qualifications that we have to abide by to become an appraiser. And it says, the importance of qualified appraisers performing solid valuations on residential and non-residential property cannot be understated. And I cannot agree with him more.